Hello and good evening. Welcome to the No Exit Experience, where everyone gets a chance to talk and no one is excluded, with the exception of those who trample on the speech of others. It is a show where all topics are welcome and no one is censored from giving their honest views on those topics. If you can handle that, then hop on the bus. You're in for a wild ride. My name is Jason. I'm the bus driver. My passengers today are Richard. We have Robbie in the Zoom room. Yeah.
We're expecting Virginia.
Leave Virginia alone. That was not a song. And we have Tom in the tiller. So, so if you're ready to rock and roll, we're hitting it like a truck. So I'm going to throw these out of order because my first topic is, it's my topic, but it's for Richard, because I was watching a thing on PBS that was about Scotland, and there was a photographer who had one of those 1 meter lenses, and it was black. But I remember the Canons being white, and I don't know if that was just for aesthetics or did it have to do with heat dissipation? Because if the white would reflect it off versus if it was black, I thought if it contracts even a little bit, your image is screwed, especially for one that's long.
Yeah.
So I toss that to you. That's my question about a telephoto lens, like a 2 meter lens.
So those white lenses that you're referring to, those are the top of the line Canon lenses.
Okay.
And Paul Dragem, if he's watching, he uses one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some debate as to whether or not they're worth extra money, those lenses. Now, our friend Mick, he noticed that Nikon sells a camera with a 1,000 millimeter lens made with the camera. Like, it's not separate. It's that camera and the lens are made for each other. And he bought one, and it's for wildlife. I don't know if you knew that.
I would guess.
Or if you want to just, eavesdrop on people like at the county fair. Somebody that's like 25 feet away from you, you can fill up your frame with them.
Uh-huh. Or you could be in the city and you could be looking in people's windows and watching them knocking the boots.
Famous movie like that.
Yeah, Sliver. Oh,
Yeah, it's called Rear Window.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
Why,
that
did
one
they
too.
remake it?
No. Well, I don't know if it was remade, but the same idea. The movie Sliver was about people doing the peep showing or voyeuristic. Or was that? I thought it was remade with Shia LaBeouf, because he has the broken leg. But the scene, or that scene where it's on all the 4 floors and it was one set, going up and down where you could see them all at the same time.
Okay.
That was Rear Window. I mean,
it's an homage to the Rear Window movie.
but no, I'm talking the original movie in Rear Window when you saw the 4 people, the guy down here on the bottom floor and the one upstairs, and you're seeing it all in real time. So, but so that's what I thought, that the white, is that just aesthetic or
I don't think it has a special purpose.
Oh.
Except to show that you have an expensive Canon lens.
And it has a handle on it,
Yeah.
I mean, that's anything that has a handle. Okay, that was my first one because I'm just a tyro. I'm just Joe Schmuck, that I know a camera, you point it and the lens focuses something and then something magical happens and you get a picture.
Well, there's what you do is you choose the lens based on the type of photography you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I like a wide angle.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm usually close to people when I'm photographing them.
Right.
And for people that want to be either wildlife or other people, then they get one of those.
Because similarly, because you're when you're so in there that even a little bit of movement, 1 degree of movement, you're off. That reminds me of like Voyager 1 and 2. I have no idea how they stay on the beam. Because, I mean, dude,
The distance.
it's 1 trillion miles away.
Mm-hmm.
It's a light day away. The light takes a day to get there. The rate,
Mm-hmm.
dude, how do they stay on? Because I thought if you lose it, you're done. You're not finding it again. But I don't know. And
That's true if you have a telescope, by the way. Did you ever buy a telescope as a kid?
I never did. No, but
So what you do is you look at it with your eye, and you can see it perfectly well. But when you got to try to find it with a telescope, you move the telescope a little bit, and it's you probably moved it like 5 miles.
Right.
You know?
Right. And that's
Same principle.
yeah, and because that's what these guys were doing on the Scottish thing. This photographer was looking at eagles, and there's a bald eagle that didn't even give a shit. You know, there's other birds flying in. You know, and like they weren't golden eagles, but they were some type of raptor, but they weren't bald eagles. And 3 of them came in, and this bald eagle just sits there and, you know, I'm cool and you ain't. You know, that sort of thing. But I was thinking, if they just move just a skosh, dude, you've lost it.
Yeah.
And you got to know what you're looking for too, you know?
What do you mean by that?
Like they showed an otter that looked like a rock, and it wasn't until it moved, and he said, well, that's an otter, because he knew what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, sometimes it was like in the Smuggler's Blues video, when the one guy says, we got garbage, when they're going through the garbage looking for evidence.
Yeah.
That's what he says. We got garbage. Okay, that's
What did he mean by that?
it's just the way the guy said it. Why would a guy in South Florida have a Brooklyn accent? You know, the cop.
The amount of sky that Voyager is in is 1/2 of an arc second.
Dude.
So that's 1 arc second. Okay, well, you got 1 degree of space in the sky. Divide that up into 60, that would be an arc minute. Divide it into 60 again, that's arc seconds. That's half of one of those.
Hey, there's Virginia.
And Virginia has just gotten on the bus. Wow. So that's like a needle in a pile of needles.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. What are we going to go? Okay, so now we're going to go with Robbie. Where's Robbie? Mall memories. Kick us off, Robbie.
I think you're coming in from Voyager there, Rob.
Yeah, really. He's like underground. It's like he's underwater.
Yeah.
There was water at the bottom of the ocean.
Anyway, we know that malls are closing right now. So, you know, I missed 2 of the malls. Unfortunately, Palmer Mall I'm going to miss, and Summit Park Mall I'm going to miss. You know, I missed.
Okay, so that's your favorite mall?
Well, I thought the Boulevard Mall was my favorite, especially during the holidays with those bears in the middle of the, you know, right in front of Macy's and all that. And it would be packed every Christmas, every holiday, like back like 25 years ago. And they had like all the stores. But my favorite mall was Eastern Hills Mall because they had more local stores, different things in there that like they had like some flea market type store in there too. It was a mall.
I think the original concept that the architects came up with, it's like a place you go to in the morning and you stay all day. So there would be things like bands would be playing in there, fountains that you could sit next to. It was supposed to be like an immersive experience, an immersive shopping experience. And then Woody Allen picked up on this and he made a movie about what it's like to spend all day in a mall. I think it's called Scenes from a Mall, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Because I'm not a real big Woody Allen fan.
Oh.
Yeah, also, a lot of the movies don't seem to hold up. You know what I mean?
Why?
Like,
because they're locked into a certain time?
And Annie Hall, I tried to watch it again.
Oh, his movies don't.
Yeah, Woody Allen. I can't watch that. I was like, this sucks.
You didn't like it?
Not the second time. It's like Starship Troopers. I can watch that. That's from 1998. I can watch that. Or Predator from 1987. I could watch that 11 times out of 10. What do you have to say about the malls, Virginia? Because you've lived all over the world.
Well, you know, I will say this. When I was a teenager.
Like last year?
Yeah, like last year. I just turned 69 a couple of weeks ago, but thank you. Jason, you're so funny. You're so funny. You're so funny.
69. Bill and Ted.
So anyways, when I was a teenager, I would hop on the bus and I would go to the Main Place Mall, and it gave me a sense of being able to pick out my own clothes, being able to shop. I learned a lot of social skills. I also learned how to, I learned how to shop. I learned how to make change. I learned how to dissuade men from trying to pick me up, which is important for a young woman to learn, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And for a young man, as well. So I wonder now, where would people get those skills now?
Good point.
They don't.
I mean, because the Main Place Mall wasn't that big. However, you had all of downtown. You had A&A's window across the street. You had A&A's. You had Hens and Kelly's down the street. So you learned to shop. You learned to go for the deals, and you were able to make decisions. Like, I would have X amount of dollars, but if I wanted that pair of sandals, maybe I couldn't get the blue jeans and the sandals. Maybe I had to get a cheaper pair of sandals. So I had to go to Tom McCann's other than Burgers. See, these are the things that I learned as a teenager by shopping in the mall and shopping in downtown Buffalo, and how to travel. I mean, I got on a bus all by myself when I was a young girl. When I used to go visit my Uncle Hubie downtown, and I wonder, as I said, I wonder where people are learning these skills now, because these are real life experiences that taught me how to navigate life in my later years.
Well, you got more out of it than I did, because I went to the McKinley Mall and it was good at the time. Now it's a ghost town. I don't know how it stays open. But all I did was look at women, and I
see, you were one of those men that I learned how to navigate around.
Well, were you a hot young thing?
So did you just look, or did you approach them?
Oh no, I never approached them. No, I never. I just looked at them. I never had any confidence. Rob,
What destroyed the Main Place Mall, though, was I remember talking to somebody in the food court about 17 years ago. They said when they took away car traffic and just left, the rail system by itself, it totally destroyed that mall. And now that mall's just sitting there abandoned, basically, not and all empty now.
well,
And we have a subway that goes nowhere.
right. Now I'm published. I'm an expert on subways.
Really?
I'm a published expert on subways.
Oh, you are? Cool.
Yeah, and this subway, it goes nowhere, and it's a waste because nobody rides it because it doesn't go anywhere. I mean,
Right.
you can go all over the city. In New York City, the longest line is the A train. It's 31 miles long, but that's because a large piece of it goes down to JFK. But take the A train, that's what was talking about. And when they have a subway series, the 4 goes up to Yankee Stadium, whereas the 7 goes up to Mets, wherever the Mets play now. Whatever, who gives a shit? Where
So
they
you're
play.
saying that's an example of a well-designed subway?
Yes, it is. But also, it's the the New York City subway is the most highly used subway in the Western Hemisphere and in the first world. But it's only number 9 in the world, because there are ones in India, for example, that is Mexico in the first world? No, it wouldn't be. That wouldn't be, because they're in the Western Hemisphere, so they're still the best. So it's all stuff in Asia, though, And
when I was younger, I went to a protest in Washington D.C., and that was the first time that I actually rode on a subway that went places.
Mhm.
And what was interesting to me is that they had these neon lights that were flashing all in the tunnels and whatever, and I just thought it was remarkable. And then when we got this thing here in Buffalo, I was like, what are we doing? It's going nowhere.
Yeah, and totally, it's a dud of a system, because Guadalajara, believe it or not, has a very, very robust system, And DC has a good one. But until just recently, about 20 years ago, that the only 24-hour subway every day of the year was New York City. Even in the Tube in London shuts down at 1 a.m. and it starts up at 5 a.m. And
Oh,
Chicago was only on the weekends. During the week, they didn't have 24-hour service. But you want to know something scary? Beyond, you miss your train at 1 a.m., you get there at 1:05 because they run once an hour at night. You're half in the bag. You're by yourself. Dude, it gets lonely on that
Where
station.
you wait.
Yeah, because there's nothing else to do but wait. There's and for whatever reason, if a train happened to come, you'd miss it if you weren't there. So you just wait on the platform.
oh wow.
And also, I'm going to tell you, being the expert on subways, if there is an empty car on your subway train when the station is full, there's a reason.
What's the reason?
Somebody puked or peed in it.
That's what I thought of. Somebody either vomited or excreted some body functions. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and before I forget now, that reminds me. I remember when I was about 12 years old seeing an ad in the paper about the Eastern Hills Mall, and it said owned by E.J. DeBartolo Corporation. That was Eddie DeBartolo Sr. and Jr., who owned the 49ers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they had.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I
Rob.
got introduced to Duff's because of having a Duff's in Eastern Hills Mall. So I got introduced to Duff's for the first time.
You mean the animal ducks?
No, Duff's. DUFF.
Duff.
Oh.
They sell
Duff's
chicken wings.
they had a store in the Eastern Hills Mall.
I only knew the one that was up on Maple Road.
Yeah, that's the original one's on Sheridan Drive.
Oh, Sheridan,
No,
Sheridan, Maple, Worley, they're all the same.
Yeah. The original's on Sheridan Drive, and then there's one out in Cheektowaga.
Are they known for their chicken wings?
Mhm.
Are they
Yes,
Yep.
They're just
they're okay.
they're just like every other wing. There's nothing special about
yeah,
them.
they're okay.
Yeah, so I mean that you like them hot, they're hot. You know what I mean? You like them medium, they're medium. Just like any other place. Like my place in Hamburg.
Well, some wings have a sauce covering,
right?
and some are dry.
Oh, well, they become dry when they cool off. You know what I mean? They do dry because when I was in Hawaii, I would go to Hooters for lunch on Wednesdays because it was all you could eat wings. And that's when they had them breaded, or then they just had started serving them naked, which is no breading. And when they were wet, oh my goodness, it was brucia di faccia, as they say in Italian, burn your face. But when they cooled off, they weren't as hot.
Were the servers naked or the wings were naked?
No, the servers weren't
The
naked.
wings were naked.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun.
Were the women attractive at the Hooters?
Yes, and because that was before the onset of all the tattoos, because Hooters was absolutely no tattoos. Because I stopped at a Hooters when I was on the interstate.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, and she had to cover her tat up with makeup.
Oh,
And that was also though when I started is when they would tie the T-shirts. Still do that because that was like a ritual they would do. Each one would tie each other's T-shirts, and then they changed the other ones just the tank tops. And so there was a restaurant that was similar, a restaurant in Texas called Twin Peaks, and they said better looking servers, better food.
so if you're a waitress at one of those restaurants, you're being looked upon as a sex object.
Absolutely. And,
Yes,
but
you
that's
know.
the thing. If do it while you got it. You know what I mean? That's what they realize before I lose it.
Do they
You know.
still look good now? Do they still look good now, or what do you think?
Well, Hooters closed in Hawaii because the family that had the franchise, they preferred a lower rent, whereas the guy that was the general manager, he actually went to the Colombian Naval Academy. He's from Colombia and he was a graduate of there. But this guy could manage a restaurant. And he said, "Give me a store in Waikiki. Even if the rent is $300,000 a month, I will generate $1 million in sales per month. You're going to clear $700,000." But they just wanted the lowest. The family wanted the lowest rent. And And you got to give the people what they want. That's the key of any service.
Mm-hmm.
So, what other mall stories do we have? Because the Hartford Whalers, when they were in Hartford before they moved to Carolina, that was when they had their stadium that was hooked up to a mall.
Interesting combination.
And before the Mall of America opened, the largest mall in the U.S. was the Ala Moana in Honolulu. 5 stories of open air. There's all your stores, but
You mean no roof on the place?
they were on tiers, yeah, and they were there was like a
So if it rained, the rain came in?
no, the rain would just come straight down because that's how it rained in Hawaii.
But it rained into the mall.
Yeah, but not into the stores because they were
Right, yeah, I get you.
yeah, there's a tier in front of them. But like there were two sunglass huts in the Ala Moana Center, but I always went to the one down on the ground floor. I only went to the one on the 5th floor once when the one on the ground floor was being renovated. But every time I went to Sunglass Hut, I bought another pair of Ray-Bans. I now have over 100 pairs of Ray-Bans.
Do you plan on buying more?
If they catch my eye. Hey, what can I say? Conspicuous consumption,
So you've told me 2 things that are very unique. Now you told me you have 100 pair of sunglasses, and you told me you've been stopped by cops for speeding over 100 times.
Yeah, and I have over 100 Aloha shirts too.
Aloha shirts?
Aloha shirts.
Aloha shirts.
You might call them Hawaiian shirts.
Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, because I stopped counting after 100.
You keep them on hangers?
Yeah, except for the ones that need to be washed because my roommate refuses to wash them now. I offered her $10 to wash my delicates. She thought it was all my wash. I said, no, but she won't do it.
And how big's your closet? If you have 100 shirts, you have a big closet.
It's two levels. So
you have a 2-level closet?
yeah, that there's a bar up here and a bar here. So this one on the bottom is all the Tommy Bahama and the good stuff. The ones that aren't as good are up here. And also my work shirts are down there too. And yeah, so they're just jammed in. But my roommate keeps the house doesn't look like anybody lives in it. Like people are proud of Virginia. How many kids do you have?
None.
Oh, okay. No offense. I didn't mean to offend you.
You didn't offend me at all.
Well, I was getting my hair cut today, and the 2 barbers are women that were there in the village of Hamburg, and that's why I got the straight razor shave, which I love, and that's why I could put my hair up. And they were talking about your house is always a mess, and that's kind of like the badge of honor, If you have boys, the mess duplicates. Our house never has a mess. Our house looks like a model house. It looks like nobody.
The one that
lives
you
there,
live in right now.
that I live in right now.
Because there's no kids.
And there's my roommate can't tolerate anything being out of place or anything. I mean, there's nothing that makes it a home. It's a house. There's nothing. There's no warmth.
Really?
Yeah, there's nothing. But that's my own.
So you live in the village of Hamburg? My mother my mother grew up in the village of Hamburg.
I'm right outside the village actually. So I'm like 100 foot from it, and we save $1,700 a year in village taxes. And what village taxes gets you is garbage pickup and you have to put your garbage in clear garbage bags and sidewalk plowing.
Oh, they plow you don't have to shovel your sidewalk if you're in the village.
Right, but we don't have sidewalks where I am.
Oh.
We have to shovel our own sidewalks in our city.
Well, you need a snowblower like I got because it's got tracks and it's got a 28-inch throw and it generates 12 horsepower. I'm just saying. Okay.
You're just saying, yeah.
Yeah. So we've killed that one. Okay. What's the next one? Let's see.
The history of capitalism. Let's talk about that. I want to learn.
You want to learn about the history of capitalism?
Sure.
I really do. And I Googled it because I was so intrigued by it. I was so intrigued by it. And it said that it started with mercantile capitalism in the 14th and 17th century.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And with 14th century Italian traders were one of the people that, and over near the Indian Ocean, over there. But I was interested to what you guys had to say about it because
so
I really don't know that much about it.
I watched this YouTube video with this professor, and he gave
Yeah.
this brief history of capitalism,
Uh-huh.
and I thought, I've never heard it explained so clearly, where everything falls into place. So it goes like this. Following World War II, the United States was the only major industrial power that did not get bombed. So the railroads, the factories, and the ports, perfectly intact and untouched. Every other country in the world that was developed had infrastructure damage. So therefore, the United States started ramping up its production of goods and services, and the world said, let us have it. Send it to us. Send it to us. So the dollar became very, very important in the world trade. And that's important because if the dollar is the trading currency, every time they take like a lira or what is the thing in France called?
Franc.
A franc. And they convert it to dollars, the United States Treasury gets a cut. Like a service
Oh, really?
fee. Yeah.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
It's
really?
like it's like a little
Oh,
and boy does that service fee add up. Okay, so the United States is thriving after World War II. So here we're talking about the 50s, 60s, and if you worked in a factory in the United States between the 50s and 60s, you automatically got a raise every year. The union barely had to protest because they were flush with cash.
Right.
Okay. In the 1970s, all of those other places that had been bombed got rebuilt. So, for example, Germany and Japan, they were studiously rebuilding their infrastructure. By the 1970s, you had the rise of Volkswagen. My brother owned a Volkswagen. Okay, Toyota, front-wheel drive. The American auto industry, I remember people saying this in the 60s, front-wheel drive is impossible. And then Toyota comes out with it.
Yeah.
You know. So so the United States realized it could no longer count on that cut of everybody using the dollar. And President Nixon did something based on what the economists told him. They said, okay, we usually base the US dollar on the amount of gold in our treasury. Discontinue that. And instead, make a deal with the one thing everybody in the world now wants, oil. So make a deal with Saudi Arabia, form a partnership, and you'll have the dollar based on petroleum.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, the petrodollar. I've heard of it, but I didn't know where it came from.
And Saudi Arabia agreed to it, and that meant everybody in the world who bought oil had to buy dollars. Otherwise, Saudi Arabia said, we don't want it, we want dollars. And the United States prosperity started going up again. And then in the early 80s, by that time, the jet engine and the internet were starting to take shape. So you didn't need to have your factory in the United States. You could take it to a country that would work at 1/10 of the wages. I don't know if
Right.
either of you remember that era where
I
factories were,
remember.
that's when Buffalo started to decline. And and so cities like Detroit and Cleveland, they started losing and China developed its infrastructure in the 70s and 80s, and it was so impressive that they went from the country with the most poverty in the world to a country that became all middle class. So, so what the United States started doing is it started losing its control over other countries because they were saying, we appreciate the fact that you relocated your factories here, but our people are not any richer as a result of it because you're paying them peanuts.
Right.
So you had countries like Vietnam and Afghanistan and Iran all resenting the United States controlling their countries. And so you had a lot of wars, and the United States was losing those wars. Vietnam.
Mhm.
I don't know how you want to spin it, but they did not. The United States did not win that war.
The U.S. won every battle in Vietnam, but lost the war.
Isn't that something? And so, here's what happens when a country starts losing its control over other countries, like the Roman Empire, for example. You get a greater disparity between the wealthy and the working class, and the middle class starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's where we're at right now.
Well, and I think it's because the middle class, as it gets smaller, it's because they're dropping down.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah. Very good. Very good. And so it's interesting when, like, you watch the PBS NewsHour.
I know it's on. I don't watch it.
Oh, it's very good. I like it. They will always say, they'll talk about how difficult it is to, say, buy gas, how difficult it is to buy eggs. They talk about working class things. And then they say, and on Wall Street today, and they talk about how good it's doing. And I just can't help but think, well, at least you're giving Wall Street a minute of an hour's time, but you're giving the rest of it to the working class.
That they wrote. Gary Trudeau wrote about that in Doonesbury 40 years ago, because Rick Redfern was talking to the one guy who's the economist, and he said, $22. What do you do with that? He says, I don't know, dinner and a movie. He says, no, invest it in the steel company.
So when Trump just went to China, he took with him all the people who wanted to make deals with China. Intel, Elon Musk,
Zuckerberg,
yeah,
Jensen Huang.
yeah. I mean, he's clearly catering to the elite classes, and his interest in helping the working class is nil.
Apparently, his visit to China rendered nothing. Oh, we have to welcome Mr. Krieger. I'm not familiar with this fellow.
Hi, Mr. Krieger.
Mr. Krieger just started a new show.
Oh.
And I like the title of the show because he puts it right on the table, what's going on with his show. The Progressive Talk Show.
Oh, I was thinking GFY.
And Mr. Krieger is the one who said, the future is in TikTok. He said, if you want Think Twice to become more popular, get on TikTok. So what happened is I looked into it, Tom looked into it, Mick looked into it, and TikTok has this rule. Oh, you want to have your shows on TikTok? You want our shows? Well, you got to prove to us that you can get a following. So
Right,
they said,
yeah.
start putting up 10-minute videos and see if people follow you. If you get 100 followers, you get a golden ticket, meaning, hey, I got 100 followers. Can I have an hour time slot? And we'll think about giving it to you. So 10 minutes of this show are going to go on TikTok. And I'm going to tell everybody on the show, hey, look, 10 minutes of this show. It's usually best to do the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I'm thinking I have to get all very erudite then. I got to up my game,
Yeah, you get warmed up. I'm going to send it to everybody, and I'm going to say, here's the 10-minute show. Look at it and follow it. And then tell your friends, help me out. Follow it. I think we're going to get 100.
And they told two friends, and they told two
Maybe,
friends.
maybe.
And on and on. And
Right.
And, well,
It was all worldwide.
it looks like what we had last week, the ones we didn't have on Facebook were on YouTube. The YouTube
Yeah.
views were way up.
Yeah.
And okay, so let's see. Yeah, I think my psychological
Yeah, what is that about?
So what I've said, there's three things for good psychological treatment: is location, medication, discussion. If you're addicted to drugs and you live in a drug house, you're never going to kick it. You got to get out of there. If you're stuck in a loveless marriage, you're never going to get better unless you physically get out of the room. That's the location. Because
Like you got to get away from the thing that's
right. What's causing your problem? If your mother is making you insane and exacerbating your bipolar disease, you got to get out of that house. That's first.
Now Virginia works with troubled veterans. Do you take that same approach? Do you tell the veterans, Virginia, get away from the thing that's bothering you?
There's different rules of thought on that. Carl Jung said that the psychologist's job is to take the patient and return them whole into the world that made them sick in the first place.
Oh, I've heard that.
So if you follow Carl Jung, in a way, he's saying that you don't really want to separate people from their families or what made them sick in the first place. You want to help them learn to cope. However, there are times in this world when people do need to get away from what's causing all the pain and the turmoil and the problems so they can reflect, get stronger, learn coping skills, and then return. But sometimes you do need a break from those you love most.
Well, what about the vets who have the PTSD from Vietnam or from the Iraq War? They can't go back to there, and PTSD is a real thing. And the worst thing about
it, PTSD is a real thing. However, it's a misnomer to believe that PTSD is a death sentence.
No, I'm not saying that. But
it does change the brain. It changes the physical part of the brain. However, you can learn to reduce your symptoms. You can learn strategy and coping mechanisms. There's all types of therapy out there that can help you.
But the one thing, this is what, do you know, when the thing about that characterizes PTSD is the flashbacks, because you're there. And do you know what just gets people the most affected? It's not the seeing it or the hearing it. It's the smell. They smell it. They smell the death. They smell the diesel. They smell the bomb. They smell the gunpowder. That's what they smell. They smell that in their flashbacks, and that's what distresses them the most. So even if you're doing cognitive behavioral therapy, which I applaud that's something that catches you off. It catches you off. That smell comes in your nose, or you smell something similar.
Similar. Yeah.
Right. I have a friend of mine that came back from over there, and he was walking through Chinatown in Boston and smelled the food and threw himself down on the sidewalk. Only from the food. So what you're saying is very true. What you're saying is very, very true. And flashbacks are very real. However, with different types of therapy, not just cognitive therapy and seeing a therapist, there's equine therapy. Everybody's different. And, there's art therapy. There's all different types of therapy that aren't necessarily available to the veteran at the VA. But they're learning through whole health and whatever that there are different therapies that you can do to reduce your symptoms. And flashbacks don't have to stay with you forever. You can work at them and reduce them, and you can get rid of them.
But I think the one thing that scares a lot of people is you have to face it, though, again. And they don't, like victims of sexual abuse, they don't want to face it again. That's the problem, getting over that hump.
You mean, what do you recommend that they do?
To do it, but people, the embarrassment, the physical pain, that the horror, they have to face it to get rid of it.
Huh.
And that's where your equine therapy, working with horses, getting your vagus nerve realigned, yoga and whatever, come into play for people that don't want to face it in a tangible form. You can face it with your subconscious.
Ooh.
And with your physical body.
Oh, and Robbie had a question. What's up, Robbie?
Virginia, how much has the service dogs helped these military vets in that? Do they
people that have service dogs swear by them. Yeah, people that have service dogs swear by them. The problem that I see with service dogs is that we have people out there that are claiming to have service dogs and they don't.
Yeah, which are therapy dogs, which are not trained and they're not.
Right.
Yes, therapy dogs are not trained to interact in malls and whatever. But then there's people that just have a dog and want to take their dog to the store. So you have a dog that you just want to take to the store, and you have a service dog, and you're going down the aisle in Home Depot, and your service dog is trained, your service dog is not going to be bothered by another dog. But Sally Sue with little Rover is trying to attack the service dog. This is upsetting to the veteran.
Well, there was when my last job, there was a woman who looked like Geddy Lee, so we called her Geddy Lee, like from Rush. She looked like Geddy Lee. She comes in with her therapy dog one day. It's this little, looked like a dachshund, growling at everybody in the emergency department, growling if you got close. That is not appropriate.
That
That
wasn't.
is not a service dog.
Yeah.
That is not a trained service dog.
Exactly.
It was misnamed.
Well, it was a therapy dog. It was not as, she was trying to play
And
it
it
off.
wasn't even a therapy dog growling at people.
Well, so anyways,
They are.
what's that, Robbie?
I mean, they are allowed to go into PetSmart and Pet Supply Plus. I mean, come on, you could take them in those stores, but come on, other places you can't. If they're not
You're right,
service dogs.
Robbie. You're right. You're right. It's people not having respect for veterans. For the laws for service dogs were made, especially in New York State. They came down through Andrew Cuomo, and he made the service dogs for respect to veterans, and people have just run amok with it, and it's disrespectful to your veterans, and your veterans that have service dogs need their service dogs.
Well, we've kind of gone off the res there for a little bit because there's a couple other. I said there's 3 points. There's location, medication, and discussion.
Discussion, yeah.
Because I told Richard of something and he discounts it because there's a psychiatrist who told me 28 years ago, 2 weeks on a pill equals, or 10 weeks on a pill equals 10 years on the couch. Yeah, on the couch you'll get there, but that was when Prozac came out. And now we have much better stuff. Like I was taught that once you got tardive dyskinesia, you're stuck with it and it's not going away. Now they're treating it. And,
Yeah, now they're treating it. Yeah.
and that's a change, like the first benzodiazepine was chlordiazepoxide. And we still use that for people that are in alcohol withdrawal. There was a Polish sailor when I was at Elmhurst who had a blood alcohol of 0.743. 0.75% of his blood was alcohol, and he was walkie-talkie. When they talk about
You mean you couldn't tell that he had that much alcohol in him?
you'd think he was buzzing. I mean,
You mean you would think he was inebriated?
no, he wasn't like, "Bleh." He was a little bit, looking like he had a couple of beers. And that's the thing when you hear about 0.5 is fatal. That's for people that are naive to alcohol, not anybody who has any type of tolerance. So that's why 0.4 is stuporous and 0.5 is dead. That's only for people that that's like the alcohol poisoning you hear about.
I see.
And that's why people vomit, because it's a protective thing that to expel, it's a teleological representation. But that's the thing that when you have the psychiatrist prescribing medication and the counselor talking, you get a synergistic effect. 1 or 2 plus 2 equals 5. You get a synergistic effect because I hate to say it, but most of the stuff that Freud said has been discredited, like especially the dream imagery, that because we know that it's electrochemical and we still don't know anything about sleep. It's a third of our lives and we don't know anything about it.
So
That's a good point, Jason.
you claim you're speaking on behalf of scientific knowledge, but let's pretend you're talking from Jason's point of view. From Jason's point of view, do you think that dreams have no symbolism at all?
I've had the same dream recently, and
You don't think it has any significance?
I can't ascribe any significance because when you're having rapid eye movement, that's when you're dreaming. And so whenever you wake up, it's right in the midst of it. So you don't even know where there's no context to it.
Now, in my worldview, if you have a recurring dream, that's very important.
Yes, exactly. I agree with Richard.
But what that is, it's yes, if it's a recurring dream, like the one of being at heights or being unprepared for a test, that's a big one. being unprepared for classwork or a test, but not like the book is Robinson Crusoe or the teacher is using yellow chalk. Not that. That's not it. It's the bigger idea of what is the dream.
Oh, see, I totally disagree. I believe now I'm really going to throw one out there for you. I believe that dreams help us to solve problems in our everyday life. That it's our unconscious speaking to us. And I also believe, now this is really going to throw things out there, is that I believe that spirits can come visit you in dreams. So I believe in symbolism. I believe that, we can have a lot of symbols in dreams, and we don't necessarily have to have a reoccurring dream for that dream to be important and for the symbolism to mean something.
But again, most of your dreaming you don't even remember because it wouldn't even make sense to you, even if you could see the whole thing.
But there are certain strategies and tips that you can do to help you to remember your dreams.
Well, when you wake up, write it down right away. Have a journal. That's one of the best things because you notice how quickly you forget it because it's so surreal. It doesn't have a cohesive.
Right, exactly. That is one of the strategies. Yes,
Here's a true story from my life.
Okay.
I had a girlfriend named Janet, and I would say, "Oh, what are you doing tonight, Janet?" She said, "There's this guy who he's been coming to the art gallery, and he likes drawing." And she said, "I like drawing, so we're going to get together. We're going to have a drawing session." Then she'd come back, she'd show me what she drew. I thought this was pretty good. And then a couple days later, she'd say, "Oh, I'm going to go out with Dan, the guy who draws. We're going to have another drawing session." So eventually, I said, "This is great. She's got a friend who's an artist. This is wonderful." And then I had a dream. And the dream was that they were more than friends, but they were lovers. And it was so vivid, this dream, that it made me wake up. And I was like, I was all nervous and everything. And I said, "Oh, I got to do something about this." So I immediately, it was in the morning, I called her up. I said, "I had this dream that you were lovers with Dan. And if you would just reassure me you're not, I'm sure that the feeling that I'm feeling, this tension, is going to go away." And do you know what she said?
No, you're right on.
She said, "I've been meaning to talk to you about that." So when it was all over, I thought my subconscious mind was looking out for me. And it was saying, "You idiot, you're not noticing what's in front of you."
Well, we don't see what we don't want to see. And I was thinking, instead of drawing, they're like drawing a bath and getting it together. And that people can be consciously avoiding the topic. It's like the cognitive dissonance with our president. If he was your neighbor, you would have a big fence up and you wouldn't let your daughters outside. You'd say, "This guy's a convicted felon. He's a sexual abuser. He's a scumbag. He smells like dog shit." You wouldn't want to talk to him. Yet people still flock to him. And like a Svengali, the cult of personality is big and he's a huckster.
So as the years went on, I often thought about how my subconscious is my friend. And I thought, that's pretty good, that you got a subconscious mind.
Your intuition is strong, Richard.
Yeah.
Just like it was with that Janet.
Yeah.
Well,
they say, there's a saying that your gut, you follow your gut. Your gut won't lie to you.
Until you get your guts spilled out when somebody cuts it open with their heart-rending. That's why spill your guts. And that's what you call your intuition. There's no bullshit when it comes to your subconscious. It's right there. I said our dead dog now, Mickey, he died 2 years ago. Mickey was my buddy. If he had thumbs, I would have brought him to work. He was an emotional terrorist. He knew every nerve to touch, and he could get it done, and that's what it's like. There's a woman who did a bunch of cartoons about the various medical specialties. This woman's an anesthesiologist, but she could draw. And the one for OBGYN was Dr. Id, because, just how this OBGYN is yelling, saying, come on, I can push harder than you, and I've been on call for 96 hours. That's the thing, that Dr. Id, no bullshit, just straight up, or like, and that's what it is, that when you're id, ego, and superego, the id is where it's at. No bullshit. And that's why the subconscious, the people that get experience with that, then they get into the superconscious. And so that's why the subconscious lets you see things that you wouldn't see, because I beg to differ that dreaming specifically solve your problems. What it does is takes all the day's events and recycles them. It's like doing the filing cabinet as far as we can guess. And there's different pieces that go. So it's not just like, you pop the disc out and you put another one in, sort of thing. It's very complex, and we don't know why, but we do know there's nothing metaphysical about it. We're just chemical equations.
Well, there are doctors, medical researchers who have had dreams based on research they were working on, and the dreams inspired them to come up with ideas that solved the problem.
Kekule did that.
Helps them. Dreaming can help you solve your everyday problem.
Kekule had the idea for benzene by the snake, like the Ouroboros.
Rob, but we haven't been asking you. Have you had any dream experiences?
Yeah, Rob, what's going on?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I have dreams about my friends and like family that passed away before me, and it's like they come and like to talk to me, and I'm talking to them back, and it's like I feel like, and it feels so vivid, but I know that they're passed on the other side, and it's like I feel like they're coming down and talking to me, and it's like showing me this and that of what I can do right.
Everybody you see in your dreams are people you've seen before. So those people that are your family members that have deceded, you have seen them before, even if it was just in a picture. Like I got a snippet of a dream of my ex, Erica, but she had red hair like off the woman on Discovery, Mary Wiseman is the actress. But Erica didn't have that. She didn't have that hair, but she had the face. And so everybody you see, you've seen them sometime in your life, even if it's just somebody when you're walking down the street.
Now, Virginia, I got to ask you about this.
But I believe, first of all, I just want to say, Rob, I believe
you got to fix her gait, Tom.
Yeah, and Virginia, sit up and get closer to your speed. Yeah, there you are, because you're
okay. Continue, Virginia.
Okay, well, I just wanted to tell Rob that I believe he's having visitations. That's all.
And
from his spirit loved ones.
Well, on that same topic of what Rob and Virginia are saying, I frequently have dreams where I'm either with my father or my mother, and I never, in any of the dreams, ever say, you're dead. It's like they've never died, Isn't that interesting? Like you never, when you're in the dream, you never say, this does not match reality.
Because everything is, anything can happen in the dream. So it's as you believe, like if you believe you can't fly, you can't fly. If you believe that they're alive, they're alive. And, so even if you tell them you're dead, they don't, that's what your mind is telling you.
I have had dreams that were unsettling because there was I was in a situation where I couldn't solve the problem. And then I started waking up and I said, holy shit, this is a dream. I don't have that problem. This is great. Like I was real happy.
Yeah. Well, what that reminds me of is Paradise Lost, because in hell, the demonic philosophers, because they were in hell, they could never get solutions. So they were constantly going over their problems, and they could never arrive at a solution because they were fallen angels.
Well, Rob, a lot of people believe that people come and visit you in dreams, instead of during the day, because you wouldn't be able to handle it as well during the day as you would with the dream. So it's easier for them to come see you during the night while you're sleeping, because you're more relaxed and you won't be so startled.
That's kind of a tautology, though.
Well, that's how I feel when I'm dreaming about that. It's like Richard says, it's like you don't ask them, "Hey, you're dead." You're like they're so alive and near, like they're like they're still young and lively.
Yeah, because when the spirit is on the other side, they're well.
Mm.
I mean, it shows how, for example, Jason, you exist in the world, but you also exist in my mind.
Well,
Oh, good one, Richard. Good one.
the thing that, and that's the thing that I find amazing is color perception. Because how do I know this is green? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what does green mean to you?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And we can both say, yeah, that's green, but we might not be seeing the same thing.
Right.
And that's what I find is remarkable, because I would think spectroscopy, it would say this is what it's at and this
Yeah.
is what you're seeing, and that would equate apples to apples. But the perception is because that in the song Pepper, we never really know what's going through other people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where my non-scientific hat I'm putting on. I have this ideogrammatic idea. We have like a shield in our minds, not in our brains, in our minds, where all this stupid shit that's going through our heads goes up and it bounces off the shield, and it just, all these things come up and come back because they don't get out. And occasionally there's some people that it gets right through the shield. Those are the people that say stupid shit all the time that they should keep to themselves. How graphic do we get in the after show? We really talk, we don't even give our honest opinions on the show. In the after show, that's when we really give it. And in this shield, it's like an action potential, because the action potential, if you don't reach that, the nerve signal doesn't get through. And so if there's a whole bunch of challenging and then one gets there, that's the one that gets through. And likewise, that shield keeps us from saying stuff like Elvis is still alive. He's 92 years old. He's bagging groceries at the Tops International on Maple Road. That sounds like moronic with a capital Mo. And and that's the thing though. Like people like conspiracy theories because it's a change from the norm. When you don't, it was like what Colin Jost did with making up that tweet. On
Saturday Night, they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, on Saturday Night Live, Colin Jost on Weekend Update.
He made up a story about Trump, and then he said to the audience, "Now that was fake, but you probably thought it was real."
Yeah, because it was just like a jumble of words, and it was just like something Trump would say, but it was all bullshit. But it's the thing you'd expect from it, and that's why stories from the Babylon Bee or the Onion, you can't tell when they got to do it in big letters. That's where it's from, because all these outrageous things.
Yeah, when the Onion first came out, I think it was 1990. People were telling me how funny it was, and I'd say, "Well, tell me what was funny about it." And they would tell me, and I'd say, "Well, how is that funny?" But you got to get it. Once you get it, then everything seems funny from the Onion.
Yeah, and it's like saying J.D. Vance is going to meet the Pope. They show the Pope wearing rubber gloves on his hands, so in case because every Pope that J.D. touches, he kills him. Okay, so we're going to spend 20 seconds on the Sabres. Robbie, who's going to win tonight?
I think the Sabres got this, because Lindy will hit the right button.
Okay, my take is I think they should scratch Thompson, Took, and Power, because they're not just zeros; they're actually detracting from the team. Two of those goals from that didn't need to be scored off of Thompson with bullshit. He shouldn't have cross-checked people. They are detracting from the team. So that's my controversial statement. Are you a hockey fan, Virginia?
A little bit. I don't know that much about it, but I have watched a few games this season, especially in the playoffs.
Okay, I have two dad jokes for you. Two people are walking down the street. First guy walks into a bar. Second guy ducks. And I got two neutrons are walking down the street. One neutron says to the other, I lost an electron. The other one says, are you sure? And he says, oh yes, I'm positive. Okay, go Sabres.